recording this video after close of trade Wednesday, 29th of August 2012. Hope you had a good day's trading today. Just going to do a couple of things in today's video. I'll run through the tip bar charts and setups for today, but also some of the Ninja Trader customers are having trouble downloading and installing the latest version. So if you're in that camp, I've got a couple of suggestions for you. So just kind of hold on to the end of this video, and those might be useful to you. In terms of today's activity, 0.8 million contracts traded, about 8 points of range. Again, another incredibly quiet, low volume, low range day. We're stuck in this range at the moment up here, all these kind of Rambo patterns, low volume days, and it's a little bit frustrating. I suppose we're waiting for Ben Bernanke to speak at Jackson Hole. We're also waiting for kind of announcements out of Europe. The Europeans to come back off vacation, plus the ECB and the German Constitutional Court to make a decision and so on. It's incredibly sad that the musings of a central banker kind of take precedent and drive the market either way. I mean, it stinks of Politburos and 5-year plans, but that is the situation we're in. It's the kind of circumstances we find ourselves in. So not going to fight that one, just kind of go with it. Just to make a point though, in terms of QE, all the previous announcements of QE have happened after pretty significant market sell-offs of 10% or so. And we're at highs, so it'd be kind of odd for Bernanke to announce kind of QE at this stage in the game. I thought he'd just kind of be in a wait and hold kind of pattern. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. In terms of where we've been going, 13,500 tip bar chart. This is looking back over the last 10 days or so. The most important points are kind of these, obviously the high and the low here. This high that was made at 1425, I'm going to call this the Bob Janjois high, because this is the day that he came out with his very kind of bearish, I mean I like him because he's a big bear, but the very bearish kind of prognostication. He said the market was going to top between 1400 and 1450, and on the button at 1425, midway through that range, it kind of topped. And you can see we'd had exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and all those blue professional bars kind of come in there, marked that top. And then kind of the lows that we've had have been marked around the 1400 level. We had exhaustion, selling, bullish divergence kind of come in here, and then you can see this whole bunch of blue professional bars buying a breakout at 1400, 1405. And so that level's kind of absolutely key. It's where the professionals kind of stepped back in and kind of held the market. And subsequently, we've had these kind of sell-offs into flush patterns, kind of flushing out the sellers at that point. Today's activity was quite interesting because on the 1500 tip bar chart, you can see here, we tried to get a sell-off kind of at 1405, but it was being driven by the amateurs. These kind of Rambo patterns, potential reversals of amateurs breakouts. So the amateurs were selling a breakdown here, hoping for this thing to break below 1405 into 1400s and beyond. It came with exhaustion selling, and those are always unstable patterns. When you get Rambo patterns with exhaustion buying or selling, they tend to be unstable. It just shows you that all of that activity is being driven by the amateurs, and there's no blue professional bars on the way down the market there. The professionals step in there as soon as the amateurs have made their mistake. At that point, they step in, and they step in hard. Look at that. I mean, that's kind of like some short covering rally type volume, but it's a substantial buying volume that kind of comes in around those blue professional bars, and we kind of rally from there. So today's activity was kind of interesting, that at this low, that was amateurs kind of down there, and they were getting wrong-footed. We're in a range. We can't go anywhere until we get kind of decent news announcements or something that kind of comes out that. But I'm still waiting for the resistance levels to come in on the weekly charts, so there's a good chance we could kind of break to the upside, but we're in this kind of congestion zone. If you go down to the 4,500 tip bar chart, so the last kind of decent trend moves that we have were pullback to end of trend that marked a high up at 1414. Then we kind of sold off. This is yesterday's activity, put in a little pullback to end of trend kind of down here. Took us a while to put in that exhaustion selling signal, but it's in now with bullish divergence after that, and there's that Rambo pattern, those amateurs being wrong-footed at that midway point, and we're just going through these kind of cycles. So we're waiting for the next kind of breakout above or below a resistance or support level on the 4,500 tip bar chart. So not much to say in that. We're just kind of waiting for some news developments. Again, with days like today, we've got fairly muted ranges. The 4,500 tip bar chart with kind of cyclical highs and lows marks kind of interesting points, and then you line those up with end of trend moves on the 500 tip bar chart. Let me just compress this chart. This is the whole activity from the open, and there's an end of trend just hiding there. There's an end of trend right at the top of the market there. Just show you those. Pull back to end of trend, bang. pullback to end of trend. So on the 4,500 tip bar chart, signaled a little bit early in terms of that support level, but then eventually we got kind of almost like confirmation on the 500 tip bar chart, and we kind of rallied from there. And then the high was a simultaneous kind of high in the 4,500 with the 500 tip bar chart. So kind of a nice little move from bottom to top there. I was actually playing the pre-open, because we had on the 1500 tip bar chart, this has been an hour before the GDP numbers came out, we had two blue professional bars kind of come in here. We were holding these lows, bullish divergence kind of come in, we broke the highs of those blue professional bars, so I went long at 775, bang, took out 3 points on the way up. Pre-open, I always talk about kind of reducing your expectations. Certainly the market's going to be slower during the pre-open, but also looking for 4 points, unless it's a super trending kind of move. It's unlikely. Well, it's not unlikely. Just because the market is slower, you should just be kind of ratcheting down your expectations. So I moved in my profit target to 3 points and actually managed to get out at 1075, which was a nice little 3-pointer before the open. So I didn't have to trade today, or not trade during the open. So after that open, we kind of just had really weak tests of those highs. The best setup really kind of came after we'd had this exhaustion selling and this little gathering pattern here with the blue professional bars kind of coming in a break to the highs there. That was a nice little move to the upside. We had a mid move kind of just test here, amateur down bars, bang, we kind of go away. It's like one of these measured moves where you get a little bit of correction halfway through and it marks a midpoint in that move, and then the professionals kind of come in at these highs, take profits, bearish divergence kind of comes in, we kind of sell off there. Okay, last point to make, NinjaTrader. Some of the NinjaTrader customers are having problems kind of downloading and installing the latest versions. Luckily, with all the TradeStation customers, been no problems at all, which is great news. I suppose I do have a bias towards TradeStation, as maybe I understand how things work, and I made it easier for the TradeStation guys. But anyway, the NinjaTrader customers, if you're having a problem downloading the file, I don't think I've done anything on my end to make that file kind of difficult to download. I don't think there's anything in terms of permissions or anything that's kind of different than anything I've done before. My suggestion would be that possibly the permissions or security settings that you got on, let's say if you're using Internet Explorer, are set a little bit too tight for that kind of file. Sometimes you might have corrupted something on your kind of Internet Explorer, or to do with its kind of zip files. First suggestion would be to use a browser like Chrome. Chrome's a really good browser, and anybody that I've made a suggestion to switch across to Chrome and download using Chrome has been able to do it kind of straight away. If you're still having problems, I would Google the error code that you're getting and try and find out what's going on there. But I honestly think at my end I've not done anything particularly different in terms of those files. So if you are having problems, please just use Chrome for the time being to download the file. Second point is, some people are saying, well, the installation hasn't kind of changed things very much at their end. With NinjaTrader, when you're kind of importing new code, NinjaTrader tends to leave behind elements of code, for example in saved charts or templates particularly. TradeStation, this isn't an issue. TradeStation just overwrites the code, and the reason why I keep the same file names is because when you're overwriting the code, then it means that all the existing charts that you have, when you open them up again, you don't have to re-input the indicators at all. They just recalculate based on the new code. So it's the minimum amount of fuss. But maybe on NinjaTrader that's a mistake. I should be renaming the indicators for NinjaTrader, because what's happening is parts of the old code are getting left behind in templates or charts that you've saved, and the new code is not getting totally overriding the old code. So that's why in the download email I said please use the utilities to remove the old code, and then I'd also get rid of old templates and old charts as well. So maybe I have to change things on my end for the NinjaTrader customers in order to kind of stop some of those kind of glitches happening. But again, any customers that I've suggested that they kind of go and delete the templates or remove the templates and try and get rid of all the old versions of the indicators, it seemed to have worked things out. So that's about it in terms of kind of suggestions kind of going forward. If you're trying to match, I've said that these two kind of bug fixes should help the charts kind of match up between NinjaTrader and TradeStation, please, just remember we're using different data sources. We're using tick charts, which kind of draw bars with using different rules on different trading platforms. So all of that is kind of different. If you're trying to match up charts between what you see on my videos and what you're getting, you'll never get 100%. So as long as it's kind of pretty close, that's kind of good enough. That's as best as I can say. And all the testing that we've done using, for example, importing TradeStation data into NinjaTrader and running the indicators using exactly the same data has created exactly the same signals between the two charting platforms. So the only differences that you're seeing right now are differences in data feeds and the way that the programs decide to plot tick bar charts, because there are different rules in the different platforms for charting those different tick bars. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. Yeah, we've got Thursday, Friday's kind of the big day. Not expecting a lot of activity on Thursday's activity, but yeah, let's see. I hope you traded well today.